Hello, so I'm going to be doing a webcam stream for about an hour. You might notice in the background there's that sign. It came today, so that's quite good. Hello everybody. So I've got an interesting mask on as well. I've not got around to doing a video on yet. This is some sort of Soviet nuclear hood. What it's designed for is, I'm not sure if it's nuclear industry or nuclear tests, but it's like film eyepieces and like a cotton face piece. So the idea is that it protects you from inhaling alpha radiation. But it's quite an interesting, weird looking thing. Yep, so, yeah, quite interesting. And yeah, there's a sign in the background as well, the gas mask sign. But yeah, I got this from, posted from Russia, which was quite cool. And it came in a couple of weeks of ordering it. To be honest, this would probably work better than most half-face masks, just because it's, you know, it fully encloses your face a lot better. But then it's more of a full-face mask this way, isn't it? But yeah, it's quite a good idea having the cotton kind of beak thing to it. It works quite well. Yeah, I've got them. They don't make a difference to me sleeping, but they taste alright. So, yeah, I have a cup every now and then, but I've not found them to do anything really other than they taste alright as a cup of tea. There's not a CM3 on the wall. Don't know what you're looking at there. If you've been not listening to the stream random 12 FPS, this is a very strange kind of Soviet nuclear hood, I guess either for nuclear bomb tests or nuclear industry use. But I guess the facepiece is white to reflect heat, and it, you know, is designed as a big particle filter for your face. So obviously it wouldn't stop chemicals, but it would stop anything like dust related. Yeah, it would work similar to a surgeon's mask, but the whole point of a surgeon's mask is actually to stop you spitting out sort of onto somebody's wounds. So that's why surgeon's masks just cover the mouth, whereas this thing's obviously designed to completely protect the wearer's respiratory system from, what's it called, the PTM respirator. PTM1, oh thank you. I'll bookmark a page on that, so when I do the video on it I can actually specify what it is. Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, I've obviously got the white PTM, but yeah, thanks for that. Ah, cool, yeah. I've never seen these before, though, currently on eBay until I bought this one, because obviously you get loads of GP5s and things like that over here. But, not so much these, so I had to obviously cut the celluloid stuff in to fit into the mask, which was a bit of a pain, because obviously the eye holes are bigger than the actual bit there. But they seem to be in fairly well. Yeah, I've got several jobs, bull, haha. Oh, that's cool, Verantix. Yeah, hopefully that works all right when you get it, because you got it for a really good price, didn't you? But it's like a modern one, isn't it? So I don't see why it wouldn't work all right. I'll Google that one as well. Alright, sophistry. Let's search that one. Prokofiev mask. There's not many results coming up for that, I'm afraid. Oh, there's one thing coming up. What's that? Mask Prokofiev. I'll get that open. Is that an old respirator? Water, glycerin, potassium, hydromenophenine or something. So it's like the Russian equivalent of a pH hood, is it? That's interesting. Alright, thanks. Right, I'll go back to the chat now. The only issue is for this on, I can't see too low, so I have to keep looking down. As the guy with the Russian name, or the Cyrillic name said that I won't be able to pronounce, the PTM is the name of the mask. But when I found mine, it was just called something like Russian Nuclear Hood on eBay. So I don't know what the actual... Yeah, like I said, the actual name is the PTM, as has been said in the chat, but I don't know if you'll find them if you actually necessarily search for that. As I've said, at some point I'll do a survival kit video, but I've not got around to doing it yet. So I'll be streaming for about an hour today. And as you can see behind me there, no, behind me on that side, there's the sign I ordered as well, that came today. There we go, take that off. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It's literally like a white hood you tie up at the back. Then it's just like white cotton kind of material. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, to be honest. But yeah, so what it seems to say online is that this is basically a very cheap, civilian mask to protect from fallout dust, and it would certainly work for that. I might test it in the fields against hay fever at some point, and if I'm not sneezing, we know it works. But I can't see why it wouldn't work, because obviously the cotton is slightly breathable, but that would be small enough to block particles. So it's quite a cool thing, isn't it? As in, a really budget gas mask. Right, I'll put my glasses on now, and then I'll be able to read the chat properly. Yeah, with some camos they're weird. Some camos work better in the sunlight than the dark, and others are vice versa. You generally don't get many camos though that seem to work in either sunlight or the dark. Both, it seems some patterns are better for light hitting them. But yeah, the main problem lots of camos seem to have is when they're in the shade they're quite good, but if sunlight hits them you can tell it's a flat material rather than it looking 3D. Oh, so Podolsk, if I'm pronouncing that right. Cool. Hello to you then. Yeah, 75 I guess isn't a bad price for it, but as I'm not in the US I wouldn't really know what a good price for the M40 is, because it's quite rare we get them here. When I bought mine I think I had to pay like £50 or something, that was to get it from Germany. Because obviously because US surplus is export banned, what you have to try and do is find sellers who have them outside of the United States to buy from. And for whatever reason there's quite a lot of M40s in Germany. I don't know if it's because there's like US soldiers stationed in Germany and then the masks get sold on from there. Yeah, anybody doing anything interesting today? I'm not, other than doing the stream now, and then later on I'll be on Weapon Collector stream, but I'm working tomorrow. But Sunday I've got booked off of work because we've got theatre rehearsal. So that means that the nice thing is Sunday I'm obviously working less hours in theory because it's a 4-hour rehearsal rather than being doing like an 8 to 9 hour work day. I really don't know, David, I'm afraid. I mean, the thing is, most masks, like modern masks, have the inserts on the inside so you can put optical lenses in them for correcting vision, but unfortunately it's very hard on the civilian market to find frames that fit those. More selfish, definitely, Iron Man Spartan. Oh, my condolences if you're going to the dentist, but hopefully you don't need anything too major doing. Is it just a checkup, or are you having teeth drilled or pulled out, or what? Ah, cool. How much did the deactivated Martini Henry cost you, if you don't mind saying? My favourite Soviet mask is the Shums, or SHMS, the optical one for snipers and like artillery crews, the one that looks like a skull, sort of face one. as I've already said, it's not US surplus is banned in this country. US surplus is export banned. So basically, the US has like laws to stop people sending out US surplus because they are worried, I guess, people backwards engineer it, even though that's already happened ages ago. So basically, it's covered under a sort of law in the US, so only the US government can sell it abroad. So if a random US citizen tries to post out a US mask, that would be banned. In theory they could be, but I have yet to have a radioactive gas mask. I've put my Geiger counters on lots of them in the streams when people have asked me to, never got a reading. Originally that was the MM1, wasn't it, for tank crews, but then Shums apparently was used for a lot of other things as well. I suppose that's a good thing if you've got lots of masks you've mass produced. You can issue them to anybody that could make use of that mask. I very rarely eat in MREs, so I can't really comment. Well, modern Russian filters are fine, but yeah, don't breathe through old Soviet ones for obvious reasons. The modern French riot armour does seem to be black, but for whatever reason this old gendarme one, whatever it's called, is in orange. But modern riot armour seems to be a lot more like kind of just plastic pads you put on your arms with Velcro kind of stuff. Wouldn't be plastic, but you know what I mean, like some kind of impact resistant plastic. No, sadly I don't have a BNT5. It depends. It would only stop particulates, I imagine, Iron Man Spartan. I mean, I don't know what's in the filters, but if it's just particle filters, it would stop bacteria. But I don't think it would stop, you know, anything other than, like, tear gas and particle threats. Oh, £250 from D&B Military, that's fantastic. When I was looking on there, most of the Martini Henrys were like £600. I don't know much about missiles, sadly, because I don't own any, for obvious reasons in the UK. But I mean, I might do a video if somebody wanted me to at some point on different kinds of anti-tank rounds, but that would be about as far as I could go on it. Or it was unissued, but because I had to put it all together, but obviously it's a bit stained in places. Nothing too sinister, just obviously where it's had storage sort of stains on it. But yeah, this is obviously unissued because it's too clean otherwise. Even I've worn it a little bit. All my deactivated guns were bought from D&B Military. I'm just going to move my headphones slightly because where I've put them on the table, they're blocking the chat. There we go. Right, I'll just have some orange squash. No, the M65s don't have a voice diaphragm. They've got the exhale valve there, which might look like it's a voice diaphragm, but it's just an exhale valve. That's why, like, the Bulgarian ones and the, like the Bulgarian one I've got on the shelf there, and, like, the Israeli M15s are better because they actually have a voice diaphragm and an exhale valve, not just a, exhale valve. Yeah, it does look good, doesn't it, Richard? Thankfully, it was really easy to put up, because I already had a screw there from where I was hanging up one of the masks and the bow there. So all I did is I took that down, put the sign on the wall, then put the screw back, threw it into the raw plug behind, and it's held up pretty well just with one screw. It already had the holes in it anyway, because it was a road sign. It's made like from fiberglass kind of material. About £600 last time I looked sophistry, but it seems to vary a bit, like on condition and things like that. That's going to be completely personal preference, James. My favourite would be the FM12 for use of a drinking tube. But again, Well, saying that, my the best mask I've got in terms of actually working with a drinking tube is the Polish MP4B. But in terms of like my all-round favourite gas mask that has a drinking tube on it, and the drinking tube's like not awful, the Avon FM12. That's cool. Anise. I don't have any World War One masks. The main reason just being I wouldn't be able to store them properly, because I don't have enough space to, like, store masks that are in really, fragile condition and need a lot looking after. So I'm interested in World War One masks, but I'd never buy any, just unless I saw one, I guess, really, really cheap somewhere. But just because, I wouldn't be able to store them properly, I wouldn't want to buy antiques like that and then, damage them. Because they're modern fiberglass bows and they don't need to be de-strung. Like, if they, in theory, they were like wooden bows, I'd de-string them. But when they're like carbon fibre bows, you really don't need to de-string them. Some of them even came with the string on, Like, you buy them and they're strung when you buy them. I'll just shield the merchandise while I'm waiting for new questions. But yeah, if you're interested in merch, there's the link below to the Teespring. And obviously it's like shirts and mugs on there. At some point, hopefully soon, Bart will do some more designs for me. I don't actually have any proper dog masks, but I think in theory there might be some masks that would fit a dog. But again, it depends, because it depends on the size of the dog and if they like having the mask on or not. Because I imagine a lot of dogs might just start, scratching their head against everything to rip the mask off. Well, we talked about this a bit on Mike's stream, didn't we, Iron Man Spartan? But I think it would really depend, like, probably some sort of food or purified bottled water. In America or other places, if the firearms are available, maybe ammunition, but I certainly wouldn't consider gold or silver to be all that good for bartering with, because it's not really going to have a lot of value, is it, if everything's gone to shit. Yeah, thanks, don't forget to like everybody, that would help out. Thank you, Richard. I mean, the problem is to learn a lot. There's already a lot of channels that specialise in stuff like that. I find the history between certain items more interesting. I mean, if I had enough items from a particular conflict, I suppose I could do a video on, like, some of the gear from a particular conflict. Because I've already done kind of like NATO versus Warsaw Pact gas mask kind of videos before. But the problem is I don't really have enough gear on a particular thing, and there's already, I'd say, some very good channels that just cover the history of certain conflicts. Do you mean that one there? That's a Bulgarian PG-1, which is like a Draeger M65 copy sort of variant done in Bulgaria. It's quite similar to the Czech CM4. The Czech CM4 is made from better rubber, but I would say the actual fit to the face of the Bulgarian one's better. Although that mask, when I got it, came in so much talc, it took like 4 or 5 different washes to get all the talc off. What I've been watching a lot of history videos on recently is both nuclear disasters and like nuclear kind of like weird nuclear, like not necessarily nuclear power, but like weird nuclear kind of stuff. Like I was watching, what is it, the Demon's Core or the Devil's Core? I was watching a video on that the other day. That's quite interesting. Yeah, there's one there. I won't be able to move it into the way of the camera because it's a bit awkward to get in and out, but I've done videos on the riot shield. Well, as I said, Iron Man Spartan before, if there was a proper shooting club near us, which there's not, I wouldn't mind getting into like historical rifle shooting, but sadly that's not around anymore. But otherwise, no, I've already got hobbies because I collect all this stuff and do all the videos on it here. I do amateur dramatics, I volunteer as well on some of my days off, so I've got enough uses to waste my time essentially. Don't know what you mean by that, James. I don't think there's anything officially recorded of them testing gas on people, if that's what you mean. America did that to its own people, though. Isn't thorium meant to be a lot safer and a lot better for energy output, but nobody actually bothered making them because they couldn't really produce weapons like grade uranium or plutonium from it? Was that the thing with thorium? No, I'm not anywhere close to North London. Ball, huh? What is the worst gas mask? Oh, that really depends. Recently, I'd have said the Chinese M65, but now I've actually got one. I think it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I don't know. It really depends, because it means do you want to include like even really cheap masks? Because the problem is some masks are really cheap, but they're obviously practical for what they were. I'd say things like some of the cheek filter masks, maybe, just because design-wise they seem so flawed. Yeah, it's a shame with stuff like that, isn't it? Especially if it would be good for everybody, but because it didn't have like a military concept, they didn't want to adapt it or adopt it. You know, there's quite a few things like that throughout history, isn't there? Where there's things which would have benefited lots of people, but there wasn't enough money to be made or whatever, or there wasn't enough weapons potential in the right places, so it never got adopted. But if you look at some of the stuff Tesla worked on, he would have worked on, you know, he had actually got working wireless electricity, hadn't he? Where in theory you could not even need wires, you could have something powered on one side of the room from something like 20 yards away or something, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. But sadly, because Tesla didn't write down a lot of this stuff, it was in his head. And you know, Tesla got really screwed over because big industry didn't like him. The problem is with nuclear power, I don't think nuclear power is necessarily a bad thing if you have all the right safety restrictions in place, you know, and you don't do anything really stupid with it. Most nuclear disasters, not all of them, have happened where people have been really careless, or like the reactor technology's not been quite there. But nuclear energy is obviously very good for power output, so I don't think it's a good idea to outright ban it, but again, I think there should be lots of restrictions and things on nuclear power. Yeah, I think a lot of motorcycle armour certainly would be good enough for riot protection. I mean, I think you might need a Kevlar, like, you know, on the police anti-stab and sort of bulletproof vests on your chest as well, just to stop somebody knifing you through the chest. But in terms of, like, crush and bash resistance, yeah, lots of motorcycle armour is even better than riot armour for that, I'd say, because I think it's because there's more of an industry to make it. You've got more competing designs, so you've got lightweight, flexible armour that would be very good for that. I mean, I've seen in some countries that, like, the motorcycle police don't even have specialised armour because they just use the motorcycle helmets and their, like, crash armour, which is probably good enough. I'd say eBay. There's probably other places, Rafali, but is it Allegro.pl or something like that? The Polish site where you can buy lots of stuff like that from. I've never bought from there, but I think some Polish viewers have told me they're very good on prices. But yeah, I've just used eBay and like B-Store, and I think there's some other surplus sellers on there that have FP5 filters. While both the British and German military is in an absolute shit state, so I don't think a war between Britain and Germany would actually happen again. You know, it'd be pretty amateurish. What do you mean? That doesn't make much sense, the question, that one. Ways slaves face slavery. Well, what do you mean? They were enslaved, if that's what you mean. Like, obviously they were forced to work for nothing. But I don't really understand the question. Other than being asthmatic, my lungs aren't too bad, to be honest. I've got lots of horrible health conditions, but in terms of lung health, other than the fact I've got like dust allergies and I'm asthmatic, I'm fine. I've got no asbestos and shit like that in my lungs, if that's what you mean. Whenever I've had x-rays done at hospital, they found my lung capacity is actually very good and stuff like that. The M1, not really. The M2 is fairly comfortable. I've not got an M3. Yeah, I don't think the Kevlar in them would be structured in a way, Richard, that would stop bullets, but yeah, it'd certainly be better than no armour. Because lots of crash armour like that is obviously designed to be pretty tear resistant if it hits the floor at high speed, like, you know, you slide across concrete, and it's designed to, you know, cushion you in the event of a high speed impact. So I do think motorcycle armour would be very practical for, you know, like riot armour kind of thing. But as I said, you probably just want to get a proper chest piece just for stab protection to your chest. There's some gas masks on Amazon, but I mostly use eBay. Alright, good. But yeah, I didn't really get the question, I'm afraid. In theory, though, what I want to know with coal is if you because like where people moan about the carbon emissions, if you burn coal but you had really good like filters built into your chimneys, would it even matter? Because I know with certain things before with power plants, they've obviously put decent filters on the actual, like, you know, chimney kind of things for it, and I know that solves a lot of the issues. So would coal be a clean energy source if you could build proper filters on the chimneys? Because they've had all the funding cut to them and they're being used as a political tool silly in a lot, like in a lot of nations, rather than the military being its own sort of thing. The government keeps cutting it and then keeps putting stupid targets in it. Did you see this one at the beginning? There's this one I showed and was wearing at the beginning of the stream. There was the Chinese M65 I've done a video on, but that video is obviously not live yet. I'm trying to think if I've had any other gas masks recently. I get a weird feeling I have, but I'm not sure. Yeah, like I said, I think top-end motorbike armour would be even better than proper riot armour, because there's more of a market for it. And, you know, coming off a motorbike at high speed is going to do more damage to you than somebody hitting you with a baseball bat, for example. But it probably depends on the, you know, really how much quality you look at on the armour, doesn't it? In theory, longest lasting gas mask filters are going to come down to the size of it. Now, I won't get the red EO14 one out because it's in the gas mask satchel. But in theory, I wouldn't advise you to breathe for an old EO14 filter. But things like this are probably going to be your longest lasting filters, because obviously the more charcoal volume in the filter, the longer in theory it will last. But I've got some sealed FP5 filters which still have a few years on the date, which I'm keeping sealed unless I really need to use them. Yeah, but water vapour would exist all the time, wouldn't it? This is the problem, I think, with a lot of the global warming stuff, and I'm certainly not a conspiracy theorist when it comes to global warming and the greenhouse effect and everything. Alright, thank you very much, Laserpoint Productions, as always. I've been playing some more Fallout 76 this morning. Other than the stuttering, I'm actually starting to get quite into it now. I'm learning where certain materials are for crafting and everything. I think pretty much any kind of helmet that has padding on the inside and like a hard shell on the outside would be better than nothing. But actual riot helmets are more like motorcycle helmets, where they've got the hard plastic outer shell, and that's designed to crack from the force of an impact, and then they have like impact foam kind of stuff on the inside. So the idea is that when you're wearing the helmet, the impact hits the outside, then potentially cracks it rather than the force being transferred through, and then you've got padding material in the helmet to absorb as much of the incoming force as possible. Some helmets are pretty much, you know, just like a simple liner in the helmet, so while they're better than nothing, a lot of the force will still transfer into your head and neck from those. What, the Y2K? It's literally search on eBay Y2K mask and they'll come up. No, sadly I don't have any deactivated grenades. I'd love to get them, but I've never seen them for sale since I've wanted them on surplus sites or you know, like deactivated gun sites. I know they exist. I know you can also get very good like resin replicas of certain grenades, but a lot of the ones I've looked at have been nearly £100 for replicas, which I'm not going to spend, or you know, I've just not seen any. One of my friends has got a deactivated grenade where you can pull the pin and then put the pin back in, which is quite cool. What, these glasses? Can't remember how much they were now. Over £100, but in the UK, although we have like socialised healthcare, glasses aren't covered on that when you're out of education and stuff like that. And generally when I buy frames, I spend quite a bit and get ones that are going to last me for quite a while. The lenses were like a couple of £100 as well, but I normally get all the anti-glare stuff and stuff on them as well. But the thing is, because I use the logic that I wear glasses pretty much every day, I'd rather spend quite a lot on those, especially because my eyesight doesn't change much now. So it means I can go 4 or 5 years without needing to get another pair of glasses. Although when I first got these frames, they broke within a week of me having them, but since I've had the replacement frames, I've not had any problems, so I'm hoping it was just one flawed, set of frames. Well, I don't know loads about global warming either, but there's certainly been trends throughout human history where we know the temperatures have risen and fallen before. So I think one of the questions is how much human impact are we really having on it? And, does it really matter? Because what we're seeing a lot in the UK at least is where they keep bitching at us to do certain things to reduce it, even though China and India, produce massive more pollution than we do. So does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? And the thing is, I think a lot with things like global warming is, we shouldn't be fucking the planet up anyway. It seems strange that people are like, oh, it's only because the planet's getting hotter we shouldn't pollute the Earth. Well, if we shouldn't probably pollute the Earth to make it uninhabitable, anyway. Yeah, apparently the Cyrillic name for it is spelt like Y2K, like that, almost like year 2000. So if you search Y2K, they come up, although I think it's called something like the U2K in English. You get more results if you type in Y2K. But like I said, I'm not an expert on global warming, and I'm not going to pretend to be. There's lots of conflicting science out there, so it's probably a good idea that people read into it. But, I'm not a policy maker, and I just think the less shit we put onto the Earth, the better. I think probably plastic in the oceans is a lot more of a problem for screwing up the Earth at the moment than rising heat levels. Yeah, exactly, Richard. That's why I think, actual riot helmets and motorcycle helmets are good, because you've got, like, the polycarbonate visors or whatever. I mean, even if you're wearing some other kind of helmet and you had, like the very good DIY glasses on, that would certainly be better than nothing. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to be in a riot with just my regular glasses on or no glasses on. Some modern gas masks have polycarbonate lenses as well, which certainly give you some decent eye protection. I've got the blue RAF one and the green army one because they're sold as surplus, and I've got some civilian sort of jumpers that look very similar to that as well. Because I think the police wear those sort of jumpers in black, and like several security firms have them in like blue and black. But it doesn't really mean anything having those jumpers. But it's summer at the moment, so I certainly wouldn't be wearing those jumpers around now. But in the winter, I sometimes wear the woolly police. No, I can't rap. No, what, like a massive amalgamation of plastic, is it? Or whatever. But yeah, like I said, I know it's very bad that we're putting so much plastic into the ocean. Because they did a thing, didn't they? Was it the Challenger Deep or something recently? Where they sent, one of those bathysphere kind of things down, like, further than they've ever been before, and they found plastic even down there. Yep, the British L1A1 SLR built version of the FN-FAL, but yeah, FN-FAL basically. What about the Royal Air Force? Don't really have much of an opinion, to be honest. They were very good during World War II and the Battle of Britain and stuff like that. But at the moment, I know they've had a lot of cuts, like the Eurofighters, they have in a lot less numbers, don't they? I think the Tornadoes have been getting scrapped. So they're buying F-35s, are they? Or is that for, like, a combination of Navy and Air Force use? Stream's topic isn't really one for today, although you might notice a new sign in the background, which I said about on the other stream, and this came the other day as well, which is good. Yeah, I mean, the problem with stuff like plastic is just how long it takes to break down. And obviously, or it breaks down and it just keeps breaking down into smaller pieces. It doesn't really go away. You know, with lots of materials, they're kind of like edible or they'll rot, but plastic doesn't. A Russian guy earlier in the stream said the name of it. Let's see if I can... PTM1 is the name of it. But it's like a very cheap dust mask, kind of radioactive fallout mask, which uses film eyepieces that you cut from the gas mask things for it. It's quite a cool looking thing. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I wonder if I could wear this with glasses. Let me just try it. Let me just loosen that up as much as it's going to loosen. Because in theory, this might even work with glasses on. I'm not going to do it up too tight because I don't want to damage the glasses, but as this doesn't work like a conventional mask, it might work with glasses. There's no way of really pressure checking this, but I think this would actually work with glasses for people who wear glasses. I mean, it's only like a particle mask, but yeah. Obviously the glasses just sit on the inside, but it still kind of encloses around your face, so yeah, maybe that would work. Yeah, it does look kind of like that. I think it's just the shape, Richard. Yeah, and it kind of does look like it's got a beak, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a pretty simple thing. It's just basically a cotton face piece that makes a full face seal. So that when you inhale air, obviously dust and things gets trapped there. So it's basically just like a dust mask, just made much better than like the modern, you know, like little dust masks that just go around there. Oh, saying about the gas masks, I did have a civilian kind of thing come the other day. It's like one of those foam kind of particulate masks that lots of cyclists wear, and I wanted to see if that would work well for me for hay fever, and it didn't work for me at all. So I'll do a video on that and not really recommend it. But I've also ordered another one. This one's coming with a nose clip, and it seems to have a better strap system, so I'll also test that one and see if it's any good. Because I wouldn't mind advising people, to the best of my knowledge, on you know, some stuff like that on the surplus market. Well, not even surplus, but you know, that's sold. So people can try and get the good masks, not the bad ones if they've got allergies or whatever. Oh, thank you very much again, Laserpoint Production. Well, I'd like to think we would, but it really depends, I suppose, on the governments, doesn't it? Because I suppose if you're in regions where you can build solar farms easily, or just put solar panels on the top of every house or whatever, I think you could probably get loads of energy from solar and wind farms and things like that. But it's, I think, more is there a political desire to do it. But they built quite a big solar farm near us recently, which is apparently very good for electricity production, because I suppose over time solar panels become more efficient. And even though in the UK it's not very sunny, apparently that doesn't matter. My aunt and uncle actually did a thing like 10 years ago where they bought a solar panel for their house, you know, which was a big initial cost. But apparently now they make enough electricity from the year from the solar panel that all their electricity costs are covered by the panel, and they make a little bit of money back every year selling energy back to the grid. Although they barely make anything from that because they're only given something like a few pence per however many watts of power they produce. But yeah, I think if lots of schemes like that became easily affordable, having solar panels on your own property would be quite a good thing. Yeah, exactly. They could build huge solar farms, couldn't they? But yeah, I mean, I think things like solar is really good if they can find a way of, you know, producing it, the panels and everything, cheaply enough. Because I think one of the problems they've had with solar in the past, isn't it, that the panels cost a lot to produce. So they're not that efficient in terms of how much you have to put in to get the panel. Yeah, I think if you had very well insulated houses and very energy efficient houses, you'd probably have a lot less use for like massively heavy energy generating things, wouldn't you? But where they built the solar farm near us, that is literally next to a massive kind of substation, kind of power supply thing. So, you know, I don't know how efficient it would be if that solar farm was miles away. It's literally like 100 yards from a massive substation. I think a farmer sold a load of his fields that were essentially next door to the big power plant, not power plant, but, you know, like transfer station, at one that probably supplies a few hundred miles of area with power. And then the company bought it that has the, you know, local power kind of supply area, and then they just built a massive solar farm there. But like I said, I don't really know much about the actual, you know, costs, because I heard that's the problem they had a lot with fracking here. That I don't have a big paranoia about fracking like some people seem to think it will start earthquakes or whatever and destroy the earth. But I know we've had a lot of problems with fracking in the UK, in the sense that they'll pick a site for a fracking place, and by the time they spent all the money setting up the equipment for fracking, they don't actually get enough shale gas or whatever it is out of the site to justify the setup costs. So there's lots of things like that, you know, where you kind of wonder, how does a certain agency get the go ahead to build all this stuff when they're not actually going to be able to get the money back out again? And I think that's the problem with lots of this sort of power supply stuff, is that you probably need to research properly, you know, the long-term gains from certain renewable energy sources before you try and do it. Did you see the Sign Laser Point Productions that we were on about the other stream? Were you in that stream? I can't remember, but yeah, the sign's there now. It looks quite good, actually. It's made from like a fiberglass kind of thing, but yeah, it's a road sign. I wonder how reflective it is, actually, with the light. Let me flick the ceiling light off in a minute, and we'll try shining a torch on it. So I wonder if it is made from the proper road sign stuff, where like light reflects off of it. Does look like that light's a different colour. Let's just... So that goes a kind of bluey green colour when UV hits it, but let's try it with just a torch. Right, I'm going to get my really bright torch out, actually, if I can spot where I've put it. I can't, that's typical. Right, let me just get my regular torch out. It's not super reflective, but it does obviously show light quite well. Yeah. I guess it's more... I guess you have to probably have one of those coatings put on it, don't you, to make it really kind of light reflective like some signs are, but yeah, shows up quite well. Yeah, it was very easy to put up as well, which was a nice thing, because I had a raw plug and a screw already there for hanging up one of the masts and the bows, so I just took those down and then put the screw there. I think the time code on the stream is probably blocking that, but I could in theory hang stuff in front of it again, but then I think that would get in the way, because it's quite nice having the actual sign there. Weren't you watching the stream, James? You'd have heard if you were just watching the stream. Avon CT12 is my favourite gas mask, Jesus. Oh, hopefully you can still see it and it doesn't look like a few pixels in 144p. Is that Australian internet because you need to do that, or what? Just like laggy internet at the moment? Yeah, I've seen videos, Richard, of that, where like the wind farm things just like massively explode, like they speed up really fast and then just like send metal shrapnel everywhere. That's annoying. Sadly, I don't think that's my internet. I think that's probably just maybe your internet, I don't know. But yeah, out of a lot of the renewable energy things, I think stuff like tidal stuff, geothermal, and solar's probably a lot better than wind, because it seems like... The thing is, I imagine wind is probably good on the smaller scale, not building the massive turbines, but maybe if on like individual roofs you just did a couple like little smaller motors, like, you know how there's some sort of like observation equipment where they use like the wind power to power the actual thing. Like if you did it on smaller scale stuff, it would probably work well, but yeah. But like I said, I'm certainly not a policy maker when it comes to energy. I mean, my area is one of the worst areas in the UK, apparently, for pollution, and I think that's why lots of people get asthma and allergies around here, supposedly. I think they were saying that, you know, if you're in Oxford City, or the surrounding areas, for, like, a day, it's like the equivalent of having, like, 5 to 10 cigarettes, or something like that. You know, it's not as bad as some places, which are, like, 30 plus cigarettes a day in the world, but, you know, it's still not good, is it? And it's no surprise that lots of people get bad asthma and allergies if they're around all that pollution non-stop. Well, I don't know what the thumbnail is for the video. What's the thumbnail for the video? Was it this one? That's what I was wearing at the start of the video. The PTM1. Apparently, that's what it's called. Well, you can wear this with glasses, as we showed earlier in the stream, but most masks you can't. You need to get masks that can take optical inserts, because the seal of the mask doesn't seal around your face when you've got the frames of glasses on. I mean, what you could do if you had an old pair of glasses, I think this might work, is if you took the arms off an old pair of glasses you didn't need anymore, and then just had, like, you know, this bit of it on the inside of a mask. You could probably get some masks where you could clip those in, or use a cable tie or something to keep the glasses there, and it would work. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the problem is the thumbnails for these just auto-generate partway through the stream, and it's only when the stream's finished and, like, rendered properly I can actually pick a thumbnail for it. Otherwise I think YouTube just keeps changing the thumbnail, like, every 5 minutes or something. Sadly, because I don't think most opticians sell the gas mask inserts. On eBay a few times I have seen, like, the optical kits for masks. They're generally very expensive, and you'll get loads and loads of the things with them, not just the one in your prescription. Sadly I don't have any CRT like screens plugged in anywhere to test it, but if I did, I would get a Geiger counter out and check. The thing is, a lot of people mistake, where's my thing? Is this it? Here we go. Lots of people mistake electromagnetic radiation for ionizing radiation. That's a totally different thing, because, like, obviously all the computer components will make electronic like, you know, EMF radiation. But in terms of ionizing radiation, that's a different thing, and I think a lot of the time people mistake one thing for the other. Because I use this when I'm, like, drilling into the wall and I need to check if there's a wire somewhere. But this is quite interesting because you can, you know, detect electromagnetic fields of it and things like that. Oh, nice, thanks. Thank you, because that does support the channel when people buy merch, because obviously it means that I get a bit of money from the sale of merch, so thank you very much for that. Hopefully, yeah, it will arrive in not too long. So I've just got the Mark V mug for myself in yellow. I think within the next week or so, Bart's meant to be doing me, like, more merch designs for, like, t-shirts and that, and then I'll be able to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt where I can put my own merchandise on it. It's quite interesting with these, where you just pick up random, you know, electromagnetic fields where you wouldn't expect them. Yeah, because it does tick a bit now and then, which does make you wonder, you know, could this stuff be damaging to human health, which a lot of people think it might be, but there's not much I can do about it, and my health's already fucked anyway, so I don't particularly care. If you notice in some videos I start breathing through some asbestos filters every now and again when testing masks, it's because, although I wouldn't recommend other people do it, I've come to the conclusion that I've got so many health problems and that I'm not having children, you know, that I'm getting to the stage where I'm sort of like, I don't really care if I do very minor things to endanger my health anymore. If I sold all my gas masks in Militaria, several grand, but it's only worth what people are willing to pay for it, and it depends if I sold them really cheap just to get rid of them quickly, or if I actually tried to get as much for them as possible. What do you mean your GPA file has rainbow stuff in it? That's interesting. Is it just some sort of oil that's smeared in it and then made like the rainbow stuff oil does? I just searched Y2K on UK eBay. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll search it and see if I can find a seller with them. But it might be like a weird thing of, now I've bought mine, there's none left. I don't know. But yeah, I'm searching Y2K now. I can't spot any. Give me a minute, and if I find one, I'll link it in the chat. Yep, there we go. For some reason, yeah, I've just got one up. I had to search, like, even I was searching the same kind of stuff. There you go. Y2K would get results spelling stuff slightly differently, but there you go. No, that's not an Italian M71. If you're... Which bit are you looking at? On that bit of the wall, or are you looking at over there? That one on the shelf is a Bulgarian PG1. That's a Draeger M65 there. Depends which one you're looking at. I've heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, that things like red wine and vodka for very, very low amounts of radiation can help, but I don't know if that's just it stops your body absorbing it. You know, like how certain things can be used to block thyroid absorption of radiation. What, the Geiger counter? The microwave will give you readings of that electromagnetic thing I just did, but it won't give you actual ionising radiation. I found with modern microwaves, the doors do reduce a lot of it, but the thing is I don't like microwaves. As well, we've got our microwave, it's on like a shelf that's about this high, right? So I really don't like standing in front of it, because it just worries me if you've got that electromagnetic radiation coming out, even if the door shields it. You know, it's going into your groin area, isn't it? Which is a bit of a worrying thought. But, you know, there's lots of things like that where... You know, if ideally I don't like keeping my phone in my pocket right next to my groin either, because I wonder if that does any damage to you. Like I said, I'm not having kids anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. You know, I don't care if I'm firing blanks, to be honest, but you know, I'd certainly not want to get erectile dysfunction from something like that. No, I don't, laser point production, but go on. Yep, gas mask can protect you from inhaling alpha radiation. Thick masks, the rubber and the glass in them will protect you from beta radiation, but they won't offer any protection from gamma. I know quite a lot of people my age and not much older are already getting arthritis in certain parts of their hands, or, you know, like whatever, just from, I guess, too many jobs where you do the same repetitive motions over and over give you arthritis. What, like what you get in bananas, potassium? Yeah, well, we were on about electromagnetic radiation and other sorts of radiation, you know. Because the thing is, I definitely don't believe in all the conspiracy thing, like, oh, if there's 4G or 5G signals, you know, your brain will suddenly melt. But I do think probably exposure to you know, the more you expose yourself to certain radio frequencies, especially in high power, there probably is some logic to the fact that it might make you ill. Isn't it because your glands absorb the stuff in it, and then the radiation can't get in because they're already occupied or something like that? I don't actually know how the science behind it works, but I know you can get like iodine pills to protect the thyroid, but I don't know, you know, the actual science of how they work. That could be a thing with the particle protection, but I would not advise you to breathe through old filters, because as we said before, they contain asbestos, and even if they don't, a filter that old is very likely just to be leaking charcoal or bits of paper or whatever, and if you inhale that into your lungs, it's not going to do you any good. There's lots of people that dislike my videos that carry on watching them. I don't know why, because personally, as I've said before, if there's channels I don't particularly like their content, I don't bother watching their videos. But maybe some people are masochists, they hate my video, but they want to carry on watching them, I don't know. But, you know, it doesn't bother me the amount of dislikes I get on a video or whatever. Because there's some where you can just talk about a certain subject, and because people have very strong feelings on certain subjects, you'll get loads of dislikes or likes just based on what the subject is, regardless of, like, how good your video is on the subject. But getting more likes does help a stream, so as we already said, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because it does seem YouTube shares videos the more likes and dislikes they get, because it counts as interaction, so they think the video is more popular than it. Not more popular than it is, but, you know, I think YouTube, if they're looking at certain videos, they look at, like, the average watch time, the total watch time, and, like, the likes and dislikes to judge how good videos are compared to other videos of similar lengths or whatever. No, I've never been sent 2 masks when I bought one. Yeah, there's lots of things like that, Richard. Yeah, I've been watching every episode of Chernobyl. Episode 4 was very depressing, though, wasn't it? But yeah, I've been watching Chernobyl. That's why I ended up getting the Y2K respirator that's hanging up there. Because, I was watching Chernobyl and I was like, oh, it's that mask they all had on. And then somebody actually said to me, oh, that's called the Y2K. And I was like, thank you, I can get one now. Yeah, very good. So you mean it's got like nothing in it and it's got no pouches with it, but £18 if it's in good condition for just like the front and back bit of the carrier. Yeah, that's good because you can just buy the Kevlar inserts for it for like 30 quid or whatever. I like lots of genres of music. I mean, I quite like prog rock. I like prog rock and soundtrack the most, I'd say. My favourite album of all time, if none of you have listened to it, is Jeff Wayne's World of Worlds, and I'm on about the 1970s one, not the remake he did of it, which was shit, but the one that has Richard Burton and a lot of the other quite famous people. But that's like a symphonic rock, prog rock concept album. But as I said, there's a lot of film soundtracks I like. I like a bit of classical, I like rock, metal. If it sounds good, I like it, basically. Yeah, no pouches, no plates, but for £18 that's still very good, as long as the camo's still in good condition, it's not ripped. Because, like, my Osprey was 30 odd quid, and that came with the pouches, but no, inserts for it, and that's still a pretty good price for it, 30 odd quid. I've seen others at various things where they come with more or less pouches for different amounts of money. But unless you're getting one that has all the plates in and the Kevlar, there's no point paying loads for it, Like you said, go for the £20 to £40 sort of price range and then just fit the bits in yourself. You'll save a lot of money that way. It's not good for you to drink rubbing alcohol. I don't think it's actually... Because you get the 2 types of alcohol, don't you? You get... is it methylene and... or methylated spirits and... like ethanol and methanol, isn't it? Which one's the safe one? Is it ethanol that's the safe one and methanol is the bad one, the one that's wood alcohol if you drink it? I don't think rubbing alcohol is actually methanol, but I think it's still bad for you. Like, you wouldn't want to ever drink it. Like, it's not as poisonous as methanol as far as I'm aware, but you shouldn't ever drink it. But you can use it as a disinfectant, and it's fine for that. I've used it as a disinfectant loads of times, because you can buy... What I do is, I bought one as a squirt one, and then you can buy like 5 to 10 litre kind of jerry cans of it, for not very much, like £20, so you can use it for cleaning, where you just put it in the squirt thing, and then if you've got, you can clean surfaces with it, or if you've got a cut. Like, I can't demonstrate on the cut there, because I've not got a cut on my hand, but you can like spray it on your hand, and you can do that, and that will actually clean your hands pretty effectively. You get some strong alcohol fumes off of it, but yeah, you can use it for stuff like that, like cleaning your hands. And I use it when I've got a little cut, that's not worth putting a plaster on, but I spray it on, it stings a little bit, but at least you're gonna stop it getting infected. Yeah, so ethanol's the one you can drink, methanol isn't. Yeah, exactly, like I was saying, Richard, I personally wouldn't drink any of that. I'd only drink proper alcohol that's bought, from somewhere where it's proper alcohol. But, yeah, I know it's not good to drink that. Like I said, I never drink it, but I do use it for if I'm putting it on the cut or using it as a disinfectant kind of thing, or just spraying a load on the cloth and wiping down the surface. Oh yeah, but don't do it again, Uncle Sasha. There's lots of stuff like that where you can probably be lucky or unlucky, Because it's like, one of the most common painkillers that people can buy without prescription, paracetamol, that can kill you very easily from an overdose. Destroys your liver. But again, it's one of those things where apparently it's completely okay for people to buy it. Like I said, I'm fairly libertarian, so I'm not against more restrictions, but it's funny where something like paracetamol, you take a few too many tablets per day, that can kill you, but, certain other painkillers or whatever that have a massively higher, safe amount you can take if you accidentally overdose on them. Like, the amount you need for a fatal overdose is way higher than something like paracetamol, and they're illegal. That's weird, isn't it? Stuff like that. I don't drink very much at all now, Iron Man Spartan. I do now and again. I was drinking last night because that's why I wasn't doing a stream yesterday, because I was out doing quiz league thing with my dad and his quiz team because they were short of people, so they conscripted me in for it. And because other people would buy me ale, I was having some bitters with that. But I don't drink much at all at home, to be honest. What really annoys me, I don't know if this annoys other people, is when you get some people that think that because they take one kind of substance, you know, that's like the... I can see your current comment one I've just approved, Laserpoint Productions, but I haven't seen the older ones. I saw it when you said XD, but I don't think I've seen any for a while, so maybe YouTube's been memory holding them, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like, yeah, YouTube's unfortunately then doing the thing where it doesn't like particular words you're typing in, so the comments just disappear as soon as you enter them, but they'll appear on your screen, won't they? Which is the annoying thing with this, so you won't know that, other than people not reading your comments, you know. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, Iron Man Spot, and that's what annoys me, is when you get people that abuse one substance and then they'll tell you, oh, it's fine because it's this kind of substance, but then, you know, any other substance is bad. Because like I said, thankfully, because I'm on nicotine and CBD at the moment, as well as my ulcerative colitis medication, my UC is really well under control again at the moment. But when my UC is bad, I have to take codeine as a pain reliever, and codeine works really well for that. Obviously, I do know codeine can be addictive and everything, and, you know, opioids are incredibly addictive for people who can't control their use of them. But the thing that really annoys me is when you then get people going, oh no, you should never touch codeine, it's a really, really bad substance. It's like, wow, I'm chronically ill, it fucking helps me. You know, but I'm glad somebody is judging me on, you know, a prescription painkiller the doctors give me, which I can take sensibly, you know. That's one of the things that really annoys me. I've seen the one you've just made, Andre, but I haven't seen the older ones. Butterfly knives are illegal in the UK, unfortunately. I think balisongs do look cool, but I've got a butterfly knife trainer, which doesn't have a blade in it. It just has like a weighted piece of metal, so you can practice flipping it. They're legal, but sadly butterfly knives are on the random UK list of banned knives. Completely depends what the subjects are on, Daniel. We did shit yesterday. There was one question, there was a couple of questions I got right that nobody else knew. And they were just kind of like blind luck. One was a technology kind of one, and I just knew what the acronym stood for because I use computers. And the other one was on African presidents, and strangely enough, because I know about a bit about some African nations post-colonialism, I somehow knew this one. But yeah, for the most part, our team did absolutely shit last night. Yeah, some people say I look better with hair, some people say I look better bald. I just shave my hair off when it gets too long because I can't be asked to deal with having messy long hair. I imagine they're completely illegal, because I imagine they fall under both being a flick knife, don't they, and being a hidden blade or whatever they call it. But does that mean that they cancel each other out and become legal? I have no idea under the UK system. No, I have no idea. Butterfly knives are just banned because the politicians decided at one point they'd be a good thing to stick on a banned list. Anyway, I'll be finishing the stream in the next few minutes, so don't forget to like the stream, everybody. If anybody wants to leave a quick question before I go off, feel free and I'll try and catch up with them. But otherwise I'll only be on a few more minutes. Yeah, is that the one that makes phosgene gas, Richard, if you do that? Because I know there's loads of things like that where people give shit advice online. They're like, oh, use this chemical and then do something, you know, not knowing there's a chemical reaction if you do that. That comment went Laserpoint Productions, CH Oz GP5 gas mask history import test number 4. Doesn't mean much to me, or is it just doing a load of words to see if the words will come through? Yeah, this is one of my most frequent legal carries because I like the fact I mostly use it because it's got the bottle opener on it. It's got the flathead screwdriver. My one's got a Phillips screwdriver as well. Oh, that's a good point. Thank you, Iron Man Spartan. You've reminded me that on Sunday at rehearsal, I need to take this so I can use the screwdrivers to get into a cabinet. Because otherwise nobody will have a screwdriver on them and you have to use like a pen or a coin to very slowly open the cabinet. So thank you for that, because it's not one where you even have a key. Okay, so number 4 comment came through, I take it, but only number 4. Yeah, the thing is, what happens in the UK is politicians try and do stuff to appear good, not because it actually stops crime. Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it, stuff like that. The thing is, we have lots of warnings like that at work as well, you know, where we've got lots of chemicals that are safe to use individually, but you have to be very careful that you don't throw one chemical, like, down the drain or something, and then throw another one down, you know, directly afterwards in case they mix and release gas. Alright, cheers, Iron Man Spartan, see ya. I'll be on Mike's stream tonight if he's on. I think he said he'll be on. It's not just you, Laser Point Production. We get loads of people on here that think I'm ignoring them just because their comments are disappearing randomly because whatever reason YouTube's got like some sort of shadow banning on certain words. I can see that one, Andre, where you said, can you see this? But most of your comments, if you've been making them, haven't been coming through. And I'm on live chat, not top chat as well. I quite like some of Iron Maiden's older stuff, like Run to the Hills and all that. But I think, like, the newer stuff they did, I didn't bother listening to. I do YouTube as my main source of income, and then at weekends I work in a garden centre near me doing a kitchen porter job. So that's just mostly like washing up and cleaning stuff, you know, like mopping, scrubbing, putting stuff through a dishwasher, all that kind of stuff. But I don't mind a job doing that because I don't mind a job where I get my hands dirty because I'll just come home and have a shower or bath as soon as I finish my shift, and it's local, so I don't have to commute very far to it. I watch Weapon Collector on Twitch, but I don't see the point in Twitch myself because I very rarely stream video games, and when I do, I might as well just stream on YouTube for people to watch on YouTube. The viewers that comment like every stream, or like nearly every other stream, Uncle Sasha, I do remember. But when people change their usernames constantly, I can never remember that. Right, that will do it for this stream. Thanks. It's 1 hour and 7 minutes in. I've got an average watch time of 6 minutes and 25 seconds. I don't know if that's good or bad, to be honest, but it's a decent amount of time. And thank you for the donations, Laser Point Productions, again, as well. You always help me out when you do those. Because, you know, doing stuff like that's pretty much paid for this thing now. So thank you very much for that. And thank you anybody who's bought merch, because again, buying merch helps the channel as well, because I get a few pounds from basically any bit of merch somebody buys. So yeah, thank you. Oh, thanks again. That's like another £1 for me, so thank you very much. So see everybody. I'll be on Weapon Collector's stream tonight if anybody's on that. I won't be streaming tomorrow, obviously, because it's a Saturday and I work Saturdays. I'll stream Sunday though, and I'll definitely stream this Sunday because this Sunday, as I said, I've got the day booked off work. Although I'm doing a panto rehearsal, I have time in the evening afterwards to do a stream. Right, see ya. So, thank you.